Hey guys, what's up? It's 2BitJesus here, and I'm back again for my reaction to PlayStation's E3 conference. And I wrote some notes down here, and again, like the last video, I just watched it. This is just me kind of off the cuff. So later on this week, we'll be getting together, all of us on 2Bit Talks here, and giving our full thoughts on this. So this is just my first initial thoughts and reactions. And I have to say, Sony, they kind of do this every year with me, where they show a bunch of games that are tailored to a specific audience, and I'm just not the audience, really. It's usually games I'm not that into, and yeah, I mean, that's all I can say. So it was, as far as wowing me, they didn't really do it. I'm going to get into details here. At least one thing I think Sony did better than, say, Microsoft did at their show was Sony definitely showed a lot of big first-party games that were, they looked great. And again, through this conference, another thing was, if you would see the little letters at the end of these little game trailers, and there was a lot of game trailers. Not a whole lot of people demoing games on stage like they normally do. It was just a bunch of game trailers. And I felt like that's all they were feeding us this time. Like they didn't have a whole lot of surprises, or I would even say substance. Besides, here's a bunch of trailers for games you already know what's coming out. But anyway, where I was getting before I trailed off there is at the end of all these trailers, a lot of times I started noticing running on PS4 Pro, running on PS4 Pro. So that was a big thing that they were pushing here, and I think this is great because I really think we're going to get something special with 4K gaming moving forward in the next couple of years, and I think this is awesome that not only is Microsoft, of course, as we saw, pushing it, but Sony is also heavily pushing it and getting invested. And this is great when you have two competitors getting into to a space like this, and I think it's going to make 4K gaming just go up, you know, because both of them are going to be competing in that space of 4K. So I think everyone, no matter if you're on PlayStation or Xbox, I think we all win out on this. Anyway, time to go through a lot of the highlights. Now, this list is longer than my Xbox E3 list because Sony showed a lot more games, in my opinion, a lot more, you know, bigger titles. Xbox had them too, but I feel like Sony had a lot more. As you're going to find out, that's not necessarily a good thing. Essentially, you have Uncharted, Lost Legacy, and Zero Dawn, Frozen Wilds, which, awesome, great. Those are really, really big titles. I think Horizon is probably the best looking 4K game out right now. That's just my personal opinion, but I just think it's a beautiful game. Awesome that we're getting more content from these games. But then again, I haven't really played them, so I'm just kind of, I'm not, it's one of those things where I'm on the outside looking in, where I'm like, these games look beautiful, but again, like, I don't have as big a connection. But this is awesome that they're, you know, still supporting these huge games, Uncharted 4 and Horizon. Moving on, there was I can't remember, sorry, forgive me, I forgot the name of the game, but it's pretty much open world zombie game. Was it Days Gone By or Days Past? Something Days. Essentially, my opinion of it, it's a Dead Rising clone. In my opinion, it's like they went, oh, Dead Rising, that's an interesting series, and it's their own little twist on it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. This could be a great, you know, open world zombie game, and it could probably, I imagine, it seems to be a little bit more narrative heavy, where, I mean, Dead Rising had its story too, but the story was usually always kind of ridiculous and like a B-C movie, zombie movie kind of story, so it was never like the emphasis of that series. It was more based, you know, on the gameplay in the open world, where maybe this game is going to strike that balance between, you know, a deep narrative and, of course, an open world to explore. So we'll see. It's interesting, but, you know, not anything that like blew me away. I'm like, I've seen this this before. Moving on. By the way, that's another thing. The big Sony guy, I can't remember his name, but he came out and pretty much said, we're just going to be talking about games, which was great, but again, they didn't really show us anything new. I feel like Sony's keeping a lot of surprises in their back pocket for PlayStation Experience, which is their own little conference. So I think E3 for Sony is going to be like, oh, here's the games you guys know are coming out. We're just going to show you more of it. And I think they're going to be holding back more of their big announcements for PlayStation Experience and Gamescom later on in the year, because there's bigger events now. It's not just E3. There's bigger events, but still, it just kind of felt, it was like Sony was trying to be the Sony, from a couple of E3s ago, where it's like, here's all these awesome games, or, even last year where they did show a bunch of games, even though they were all in development, they were still like showing you all this new stuff. And it's like they were trying to be that, but they weren't that anymore this year. They were just kind of like, here's some trailers, and it came off cold. Anyway, Shadow of the Colossus, I guess HD remake, which was supposed to be their big, and I guess this was supposed to be the big surprise. For me, personally, I don't know about anyone else out there, but Sony, in my opinion, because they've recently, one of the people who, big head honchos at Sony, recently stated that people don't want backwards compatibility on their new systems. Pretty much saying that, hey, we're not interested in backwards compatibility, we've tried it, and only a handful of people used it, and it's a niche kind of thing. And granted, that could be a decent argument, but it comes across incredibly freaking hypocritical. I'm trying to watch my language, I'm trying to cut back on it. It comes across completely hypocritical when you sit there and you say that, and then you turn around and go, here's an HD remake, pay us $60 for an old game. It probably won't be $60. I imagine this will be more of a budget title. I hope so. But still, it just, to me, that's how it comes across. It's like you're being very hypocritical by sitting there saying no one wants to play old games on their new consoles, and then you're coming out with HD remakes, and pretty much it's the same game except with a graphical upgrade. There's nothing new about it. It's just the same game. Very hypocritical. And again, I like Shadow of the Colossus on PS2. Not too into getting it for PS4. It'd be great if you had backwards compatibility where people could play their PS2 games on the PS4. It's not that hard. You can do it, Sony. You can do it. I know you got it in you. Just reach in real deep. I'm sorry, it's late. I need sleep. So I'm a bit crappy today. I was going to say that I do feel like they're going back to the well again and triple dipping into nostalgia with Shadow of the Colossus. It's pretty much Sony going, hey, remember the mid to late 90s / early 2000s when we were like the greatest thing ever? That's kind of how I feel, which, not necessarily a bad thing. It's okay for a company to look back on their glory days. Nintendo does it all the time. Microsoft does it, obviously. I think that's one of the reasons why, they were big on backwards compatibility. It's kind of like, remember the 360 when we were on top? And this is kind of, Sony looking back again at their glory days, I guess you could say. And that's why they, every E3 it seems like there has to be a game that's announced. It's like a remake or a look back on their, PS2 and PS1 days. Just my opinion. I feel like they kind of overdo it, but then again, to each their own. Moving on, I wrote this down at this point in the conference, and I don't know if it's the venue, because it seems like the same venue as last year. They do it in this like theater kind of place, and the crowd just seems dead. You get people going, oh yay, clapping, but they don't seem that enthused. So I don't know if the crowd's just dead and they don't, they're kind of lukewarm to these presentations, or if it's just like the acoustics. It could be that. It's just the acoustics of the building and it sounds like the people aren't really into it, but if you're really there, maybe people are like going, yeah, and you can hear them a lot better. But it just seems, to me, the crowd seemed dead through most of the conference, which honestly, Sony wasn't giving them much to be excited about at this point. you're going to get Skyrim VR. During this point of the conference, they went really heavy, showed a lot of games in VR. I really don't care for VR. That's not something I'm going to be too into until I actually experience it for myself. You can show videos and trailers of VR games all day long, but to actually experience a VR game is what's going to be important. That's what's going to sell, I think, those games. I think they were just wanting to show the game so you could say, oh, that looks like a pretty game, and a game that I'd find interesting. So I don't think Sony overdid it with the VR, but then again, I don't think these trailers showing these VR games really sold me, and they definitely didn't sell me, but I don't think it's going to sell too many people on VR. That's again I think VR is going to have to be something you have to get out there, do demo units, and get people to actually physically try it to get them to want to buy something like that. That's something you have to physically be there and experience. You can't just look up a video, of the game, and you're not getting the full experience there. So I think Sony did strike the right balance, where they didn't overdo it on trying to shove VR down your throat. And moving on to, let's see, which one is it? Oh, here we go. This is actually, this is actually the trailer that picked the crowd up, and I started noticing the crowd being a lot more enthusiastic about the show, a lot more rowdy and getting really pumped, and that was God of War, aka Dad of War. I'm not into the God of War games. They just seem very bro-ish to me, except it's kind of like Gears of War, which I do admit I like, but it's the same concept. Big, muscly bro men, and going and in Gears of War chainsawing shit, but blood and gore, and with God of War it's hack and slash, where Gears it's shooting, but it's essentially the same, machismo, big muscles, blood and gore and action, which, for some people that's great. I do enjoy playing the Gears games. I like the Gears games, and I'm sure a lot of people like, the God of War games, for probably similar reasons I like Gears of War. But me personally, not into it. I did liken it to Dad of War, him and his son just going, I think that should have been its name, just instead of God of War, Dad of War, because Kratos seems to be settled down and a dad. And the other interesting thing is the story aspect. It seems like he's gone from Greece, which is what the God of War series is based on, is Greek mythology, and now they're in, I guess you could say Nordic mythology, Norse mythology. So that's where they're at right now. And there's, in the trailer, one guy says something about how you guys think that you're so, civilized, but you're just as barbaric as us. So it's an interesting, kind of, more classical Greco-Roman, civilization meets Viking, barbarian civilization, and it's a nice little clash. So I think that'll be interesting. That's the one thing I saw in this trailer where I was like, this is a interesting little take / spin / window into these mythologies. Let's get these two mythologies together and clash them and see what happens. So that was interesting. That will be the positive thing I say about Dad of War. But besides that, not too interested in it. Moving on to Detroit. Holy crap, this is the game that got me excited. I believe these are the same people who made Indigo Prophecy and Beyond Two Souls and was it Heavy Rain? Which, granted, these games aren't perfect. They have their flaws, but I don't know what it is. I like these games, and almost always their story ends up disappointing me. The guy who makes these games, he seems very pretentious. It comes off that in the writing a lot of times, but I don't know what it is about these games. I still love to play them and explore this world. It's right up my alley. This was the game for me at Sony's conference. I think this is something I want to play for sure, and I look forward to seeing more. So great, good on you, Sony. You have a game that interested me, which you normally don't have. Also, I forgot to mention that before they started showing the VR, totally forgot this because it was to me a no-no. The Call of Duty, World War II trailer showed, and I don't care. I just don't care. I get that it's a huge series, still has a huge following, but I'm Call of Duty out. And honestly, a lot of what I saw, what they showed, it's again, they have no ideas. Essentially, Call of Duty, Activision, pretty much saw, oh, look what EA and EA and DICE did with Battlefield 1 last year. Oh, that's awesome. Look how successful they were. Let's do that, except it'll be in World War II. But the trailer of this reminded me just like Battlefield 1's trailer, where you have this kind of song, more modern contemporary song playing in the background. You're showing the brutality of war, and that's pretty much what they showed. And I mean, it looked, the graphics looked impressive, yeah, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, you guys are just kind of seeing what other people do. They're copying. They're no longer at the point where they're being innovative and pushing the envelope and pushing the genre forward. They're just more kind of, I think, on the decline, and they're just seeing what other studios are doing and other series are doing and just kind of copying that to stay relevant. That's my personal thoughts on it. So not really interested in Call of Duty. And moving on to Destiny 2, excited for Destiny 2, I'm going to get it. I've enjoyed playing Destiny 1. I haven't beaten everything on Destiny 1, sadly. I need people to play with. And I'm terrible, because usually the people who say, hey, yeah, you can play with us, we're never on at the same time. So I need to free up my schedule for all of you out there. Cooper of Astro Buddies, you're one of the people I need to free up my schedule and get in a session with you on Destiny 2. But Destiny 1. But yeah, Destiny 2, it looks interesting. Not getting it for PlayStation 4. It's going to be on Xbox. So yay! And they had a bunch of exclusives for the PlayStation version that I don't care for. Ooh yay, weapons. Ooh yay, a strike. I don't really care. You know what would make it a true exclusive, Sony? Is to have actual story mode elements exclusive. That would then make people go, well, now I have to own the PlayStation version because you get this quest and it, the story's not complete without it. But the bad thing about that is it would be incredibly shitty and you would be, screwing over the PC and Xbox owners of Destiny. So I don't think you're ever going to do that. But yeah, nothing too yay, Bungie, Destiny, woo! On Sony's conference, even though it's going to be for every system. So yeah, after Destiny, they pretty much closed out the show with SpiderMan. And honestly, it looks like it is Batman Arkham Knight Spider-Man Edition. That's exactly how this game played, with a few noticeable differences. But that's how it played, and that's how it came across to me. Cool! Exclusive Spider-Man game for the PS4. Thought it was I can see their logic here. Spider-Man Homecoming it's going to be coming to theaters soon. And this was, I think, a good pick to end your show on, but ultimately, I love Insomniac Games. I think that they're one of the best developers out there. But honestly, this game didn't really interest me, and it definitely came across as a hey, we played Arkham Knight, and let's put Spider-Man in there. That's how it came across. It could be totally different. Insomniac's a great developer, so maybe it's going to be like Arkham Knight, but their own twist on it. I will say a Spider-Man game, I think, could definitely be good in that vein of a game, because Spider-Man, like Batman, Batman grapples up onto things and all that. Spider-Man's the same way. He swings his web to climb up on things and swims around, so I think it's a good mix. But again, it's like, hey, Arkham Spider-Man Edition. That being said, guys, it was okay. They showed some cool stuff, some cool games, but ultimately, like Microsoft, I just think they were mediocre at best. I don't really think they did a great job. They didn't entice me to buy a PS4 Pro, which was definitely the aim here. It's weird where Microsoft had a lot of indie titles and showed a lot of, they did show a lot of games, but not a whole lot of big first-party games to really sell a person on the Xbox One X. Sony also did show a lot of big first-party games that I think can sell the PS4 Pro, but again, I don't think they really showed anything too spectacular in the end that's going to get a lot of people to dish out the money. I could be wrong. We'll see. I'm just, again, here we are, Nintendo. This is your big opportunity. You have a huge opportunity, Nintendo, because in my opinion, Microsoft and Sony both have dropped the ball on their presentations. You can really come out of the gate swinging with E3, and E3 can launch you and give you momentum over the summer and heading into the holidays. I think Nintendo can make huge gains, but let's see what they have. It all depends on the content that they are bringing. So we'll see, and if you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to share. And if you have any questions you want to post to us here on the 2-Bit channel, please do so in the comment section below or tweet us at 2BitJesus. As always, guys, stay safe and play on.